One text lit the fuse. Diego, we're done. Diego stared at his phone, heart steady, not racing. For 3 years, Sophia had played this card, testing him, bending him to her will. But today, in the hum of his Miami office, something snapped. No begging, no chasing. He typed back, agreed. Your stuff's at your place in an hour. This wasn't just a reply. It was the end of her games and the start of his fight to take back his life. Diego Alvarez, 28, sat at his desk in a sleek marketing firm overlooking Miami's Betrayal skyline. His fingers hovered over a spreadsheet, campaign metrics glaring back, when his phone buzzed at 2:17 p.m. The message from Sofia Morales, his girlfriend of 3 years, was blunt. Diego, we're done. This isn't working. Most guys would have felt their stomach drop, scrambled to call, or fired off a flurry of text to fix things. Not Diego. A wave of relief crashed over him, sharp and clear, like stepping out of a suffocating room into Miami's humid air. He leaned back, exhaling. This wasn't love. It was liberation. Sophia's breakup texts were her signature move, a tactic she'd honed over their relationship. Last month, it was because Diego couldn't skip work for her friend Valeria's rooftop party in South Beach. You never prioritize us, she'd snapped, tossing out the usual threat. Maybe we're not meant to be. Before that, it was over splitting the bill at her birthday dinner at a trendy Coconut Grove restaurant. A $280 tab she'd expected him to cover solo. Each time, Diego had played his part, pleading, promising to do better, proving his devotion. And each time, Sophia had forgiven him, acting like she was doing him a favor. It was a script, predictable as the Miami sun, and he'd followed it for too long. But today, something shifted. Maybe it was the casual cruelty of her words, like she was canceling a coffee order. Maybe it was the rare clarity of a good day at work, his mind unclouded by her drama. Or maybe, after 3 years of tiptoeing around her tests, he'd just had enough. Diego's fingers moved before doubt could creep in. Agreed, he typed. Your stuff will be at your place in an hour. He hit send, the decision locking into place like a door slamming shut. The response was instant. His phone vibrated furiously, Sophia's name lighting up the screen. Wait, what? Followed by, Diego, that's not what I meant. 3 crying emojis. Then, can we talk, please? The texts piled up, each one more frantic, as if she could sense the ground shifting beneath her. Diego pictured her face, smug confidence crumbling into panic. He didn't reply. Instead, he closed his laptop, told his supervisor he had a personal emergency, and left the office. The Miami heat hit him as he stepped onto the street, but it felt like freedom. Diego's apartment in Betrayal was a 15-minute drive, the city's pulse thrumming through his windshield. Sophia had been leaving pieces of herself there for over a year, not moving officially, but claiming space bit by bit. Her skincare products crowded his bathroom counter. Her clothes took over half his closet. It wasn't a home anymore. It was her stage. As he pulled into his building's garage, his phone kept buzzing, but he ignored it. Inside, he grabbed cardboard boxes and started packing. Each item he tossed in, her yoga mat, her unopened self-help books, her scented candles he was allergic to, felt like reclaiming a piece of himself. By the time he finished, 7 boxes and 3 trash bags sat stacked by his front door. His apartment felt lighter, like it could breathe again. Then came the confession. Among the flood of texts, one stood out. I was just testing you, Diego. I wanted to see if you'd fight for us. There it was, the truth she'd never admitted before, laid bare in black and white. All her threats, all her games, were experiments to see how far she could push him, how much control she could wield. And he'd passed every test, giving her the reaction she craved, until now. This time, he called her bluff, and she was unraveling. Diego loaded the boxes into his car and drove to Sophia's place in Wynwood, a vibrant neighborhood of murals and hipster cafes. He stacked her belongings neatly on her porch, snapped a photo, and texted it to her. Done. Then he turned off his phone. Back at his apartment, he ordered takeout from a Cuban spot down the street. Arroz con pollo, no drama, and settled onto his couch. For the first time in years, he felt unburdened, like he'd shed a weight he hadn't realized he was carrying. But Sophia wasn't done. As Diego dug into his dinner, his phone, now back on, lit up with 32 missed calls and a novel's worth of texts. The progression was almost comical. Denial, you can't be serious. Anger, this is so unfair. Bargaining, let's just talk please, in desperation, I love you, Diego. He didn't respond. He'd spent 3 years reacting to her cues, bending to her whims. This time, he was choosing himself. As he scrolled through her messages, one thing became clear. Sophia hadn't expected him to stand his ground. Her test had always worked because he'd always played along. But now, the rules had changed, and she was scrambling to rewrite the script. Diego leaned back, the Miami skyline twinkling outside his window. He didn't know it yet, but this was just the beginning. Sophia's next moves would push him to the edge, turning a single text into a battle for his peace. And his revenge would be sweeter than he could have imagined. Sophia's texts lit up Diego's phone like a Miami storm, each one a desperate plea to undo his stand. But when she showed up at his door, hurling boxes and spinning lies online, Diego realized this wasn't just a breakup, it was war. Armed with evidence and a new resolve, he braced for her next move, unaware that Sophia's campaign of chaos was about to spiral into a public spectacle that would test his limits and change everything. Diego Alvarez woke the morning after his breakup with Sofia Morales feeling lighter than he had in years. The 28-year-old marketing coordinator sipped his café con leche, the Miami sun streaming through his Brickell apartment's windows. He'd packed Sophia's belongings the night before, dropping them at her Wynwood place after her "we're done" text, a test she'd admitted to in a frantic message. Diego's refusal to play along had flipped the script, and Sophia was reeling. But as he scrolled through 52 missed calls and a barrage of texts, denial, anger, begging, he knew she wouldn't let go quietly. By noon, Sophia's campaign kicked into high gear. Diego's phone buzzed with a notification. Sophia had posted on Instagram. A tearful selfie caption gave him 3 years, and he threw it away over nothing. The comments from her friends poured in, "You deserve better, girl," and his loss. Diego's jaw tightened. She was rewriting history, painting him as the heartless dumper, conveniently omitting her breakup text and her confession of testing him. He screenshot the post, sensing he'd need proof later. At work, Diego tried to focus on a client campaign, but his phone kept buzzing. Sophia's texts escalated. "You're making a huge mistake," followed by, "I was upset, okay? I didn't mean it." Then came the voicemails, her voice cracking with fake tears. "Diego, please, let's fix this." He ignored them, but the distraction cost him. A coworker noticed his tension during a meeting, asking if everything was okay. Diego brushed it off, but the pressure was mounting. That evening, things got physical. Driving home, Diego spotted Sophia's car parked outside his Brickell building. As he approached his apartment, he heard banging, loud, relentless. His doorbell camera app pinged, showing Sophia on his porch, slamming a fist against the door. "Diego, I know you're in there," she shouted. Then, a crash. She grabbed one of her own boxes, still stacked outside, and hurled it at the door. The camera caught everything. Her yelling, the box splitting open, her pacing in fury. Diego stayed inside, heart pounding but resolute. He saved the footage, knowing it was evidence. The next morning, Sophia's social media assault intensified. She posted a throwback photo of them at a Miami Heat game, captioned, "When you think it's forever, but they show you who they really are." The narrative was clear. Diego was the villain, dumping her out of the blue. Mutual friends started texting him, confused. "Bro, what happened?" asked Mateo, his college buddy. "Sophia says you ghosted her." Diego explained the truth, her text, her test, his response, but the damage was done. Sophia's story was spreading faster than he could counter. By Friday, Sophia took it to the streets. Diego was grabbing a cortadito at his usual cafe near Lincoln Road when he spotted her at a corner table, typing furiously on her laptop, glancing at him every few seconds. She wasn't there for coffee. She was staging a scene. As he left, she followed, calling out, "Diego, can we just talk?" Heads turned. Customers whispered. He kept walking, but she trailed him to his car, her voice rising. "You're throwing away 3 years." Diego climbed into his SUV, locked the doors, and drove off, his hands gripping the wheel. Saturday brought a new low. Diego hit his gym near Biscayne Bay for his 6 a.m. workout, only to find Sophia at the front desk, claiming to be his girlfriend who'd lost her access card. The receptionist, skeptical, called Diego to verify. "She's not my girlfriend," he said firmly. "We broke up." The staff escorted Sophia out, her protests echoing. Diego's phone pinged later, a text from Sophia. You humiliated me. You'll regret this. He saved that, too, building a digital paper trail. The breaking point came Sunday night at a bar in Wynwood, where Diego and Mateo went for their weekly trivia night. Halfway through, Sophia walked in with her friend Valeria and two others, taking a table with a clear view of Diego's booth. She played the part perfectly, laughing loudly, then looking wistful, like a heartbroken heroine. Valeria shot Diego dirty looks, clearly buying Sophia's story. When Diego went to the bar for a drink, Sophia approached, her voice low. You're ruining my life, she hissed. Just take me back and this stops. Diego met her gaze. No, Sophia. You ended this. He walked away, her stare burning into his back. Back home, Diego reviewed his evidence. Screenshots of her texts, the doorbell footage, her social media posts. He knew Sophia's tactics, manipulation, public shaming, playing the victim. But he wasn't the same guy who'd beg for her forgiveness. He opened his laptop and started researching restraining orders. Sophia's games were escalating, and he needed to protect himself. What he didn't expect was the ally waiting in the shadows, someone close to Sophia who'd seen through her lies and was ready to change the game. Sophia's war on Diego reached fever pitch, her lies flooding social media and her stunts invading his life. But when she staged a desperate protest outside his Miami office, Diego found an unexpected ally in her inner circle. With a courtroom showdown looming, the truth was about to unravel her carefully spun narrative, pushing Diego to fight back in a way that would flip their story upside down. Diego Alvarez, 28, thought he'd seen the worst of Sofia Morales' tactics. For a week, the Miami marketing coordinator had endured her relentless texts, her dramatic doorstep tantrum caught on his doorbell camera, and her social media campaign painting him as the villain who dumped her after 3 years. But Sofia was just warming up. By Monday, Diego's phone was a battlefield. 67 missed calls, texts ranging from, I'm sorry, let's talk, to you'll pay for this. He saved every message, knowing her test to end their relationship was no joke. It was a power play, and he was done playing. At his Brickell apartment, Diego scrolled through Sophia's latest Instagram post, a photo of them at a South Beach club, captioned, When you give someone everything and they break your heart. Her followers ate it up, flooding the comments with sympathy. Diego's friend Mateo texted, frustrated, She's telling everyone you ghosted her, man. What's her deal? Diego sent him screenshots of Sophia's breakup text and her admission of testing him. Mateo replied, This is messed up. Stay strong. But Sophia's lies were spreading faster than Diego could counter, and mutual friends were starting to waver. Tuesday brought a new escalation. Diego was grabbing lunch at a cafe near his office on Lincoln Road when his phone buzzed with a call from an unknown number. Mr. Alvarez? This is Nurse Garcia from Jackson Memorial Hospital. You missed a critical appointment. Diego frowned. He hadn't scheduled any appointment. Then the voice shifted, familiar and frantic. Diego, it's me. Just give me 5 minutes. It was Sophia, posing as a nurse, having tricked her way through his office's receptionist. He hung up, heart racing, and called his supervisor to explain. Document it, his boss advised. This is getting out of hand. Wednesday, Sophia went nuclear. Diego left his office at 6 p.m., stepping into the humid Miami evening, only to freeze. Across the street, Sophia sat cross-legged on the sidewalk, holding 2 handmade signs. Diego, talk to me, and love deserves a chance. Passers-by stared. Some snapped photos. Diego's stomach churned as his co-workers trickled out, whispering. Security approached Sophia, asking her to leave, but she refused, shouting, He's thrown away 3 years. The scene drew a crowd, and Diego slipped back inside, calling building management. They contacted the police, who escorted Sophia away. Diego's phone pinged with a text from her. You can't ignore me forever. His workplace was now a stage for her drama. The next morning, Diego met with HR, explaining the breakup, the texts, the fake nurse call, and now the protest. This could affect your job, the HR rep said, concerned. We'll support you, but you need to handle this legally. Diego nodded, already researching restraining orders. He uploaded his evidence, texts, doorbell footage, screenshots, to a secure folder. Sophia's stunts were crossing lines, and he needed to protect his career and peace. Then came the twist. Late Thursday, Diego's phone lit up with a message from an unexpected source. Valeria, Sophia's best friend. "We need to talk," she wrote. "Sophia's lying to everyone, and I'm done covering for her." Diego met Valeria at a quiet cafe in Coconut Grove, away from prying eyes. She slid her phone across the table, showing text from Sophia bragging about testing Diego to keep him in line. One message read, "I told him we're done, and he fell apart, lol. He'll beg soon." Diego's blood boiled, but he stayed calm. Valeria, guilt-ridden, explained, "She's been doing this for years. I thought she'd stop, but it's worse now. I'm sorry." Valeria shared more. Screenshots of Sophia planning her social media posts to win their breakup, even joking about the fake hospital call. "She thinks she can guilt you back," Valeria said. "But you don't deserve this." Diego thanked her, saving the evidence. Valeria's betrayal of Sophia was a game-changer, giving him the ammunition he needed. "Don't tell her we talked," Valeria urged. "She'll lose it." Diego agreed, sensing the tide turning. Back home, Diego compiled his case. Sophia's texts, the doorbell video of her tantrum, her social media lies, and now Valeria's screenshots. He contacted a lawyer, scheduling a restraining order hearing at the Miami-Dade County Courthouse. Sophia's protest had pushed him too far, and Valeria's evidence was the key to exposing her. As he prepared, Sophia kept pushing. Friday morning, she showed up at his gym again, this time arguing with the staff until they threatened to call security. Diego's phone buzzed with another text. "You're making me look crazy. Just talk to me." He didn't reply. The courtroom was coming, and he was ready to end her chaos for good. Sophia's lies had pushed Diego to the edge, her public stunts and manipulations turning his Miami life into a battlefield. But with Valeria's evidence and a restraining order hearing set, Diego was ready to expose her. As the courtroom loomed, Sophia's world began to crumble, and the consequences of her actions hit hard, leaving Diego to reclaim his life while her carefully crafted narrative unraveled. Diego Alvarez, 28, walked into the Miami-Dade County Courthouse with a folder of evidence that felt like a weapon. For weeks, Sophia Morales, his ex-girlfriend of 3 years, had waged war, texts threatening their breakup, a doorstep tantrum caught on his doorbell camera, fake hospital calls, and a protest outside his Lincoln Road office with signs begging him to talk. Her Instagram painted him as the heartless dumper, but Valeria, Sophia's best friend, had flipped the script, sharing damning screenshots of Sophia's plans to test and manipulate him. Now, Diego was ready to end it. The hearing was scheduled for a humid Tuesday morning. Diego's lawyer, a sharp woman named Elena, had prepped him thoroughly. "Stick to the facts," she said. "The evidence speaks for itself." Diego's folder held everything. Sophia's breakup text, her admission of testing him, the doorbell footage of her throwing a box at his door, screenshots of her social media lies, and Valeria's texts exposing her schemes. As he sat in the courtroom, Sophia entered with her mother, clutching a thin stack of papers, her eyes darting nervously. Diego stayed calm, his resolve ironclad. The judge, a no-nonsense woman in her 50s, called the case. Diego presented first, laying out the timeline. Sophia's initial text ending their relationship, his agreement to part ways, and her escalating harassment. He showed the judge her messages, including, "I was testing you to see if you'd fight for us." The judge's eyebrows shot up. The doorbell video played next, Sophia's voice echoing as she yelled and hurled a box at his door, followed by her call to her mother, admitting the breakup was a ploy. Diego's lawyer then shared Valeria's screenshots, where Sophia bragged about manipulating him to keep him in line. The courtroom was silent, the weight of the evidence crushing. Sophia took the stand, her voice shaky. "It was a misunderstanding," she claimed. "We had 3 years together. I was upset, not harassing him." She presented printed texts, cherry-picked to show Diego's short replies, framing him as cold. But the judge wasn't swayed. "Ms. Morales," she said, her tone sharp, "you initiated the breakup, and when he respected that, you escalated with public disturbances and false calls. This is harassment." Diego's heart steadied. He was being heard. The judge granted a 200-meter restraining order, effective immediately. Sophia was barred from contacting Diego or approaching his home, workplace, or gym. "Violate this," the judge warned, "and you'll face legal consequences." Sophia's mother put an arm around her, but Sophia pulled away, her face a mix of defiance and defeat. Diego left the courthouse, the Miami heat hitting him like a wave of relief. He'd won this round, but he knew Sophia wouldn't stop easily. The fallout was swift. The restraining order was public record, and mutual friends started digging. Mateo, Diego's college buddy, shared the court documents with their group chat, exposing Sophia's lies. Friends who'd bought her victim narrative, fed by her Instagram posts about Diego throwing away their relationship, began to pull back. Valeria, already done with Sophia, stopped answering her calls. By Wednesday, Sophia's social media went silent, her tearful selfies replaced by an eerie absence. Diego heard through Mateo that Sophia had been crashing on Valeria's couch but was kicked out after the hearing. Her lies too much even for her closest ally. Sophia's professional life took a hit too. As a social media manager, she'd been missing work, too consumed by the drama. Her employer, a Miami startup, let her go after she failed to show up for 3 days post-hearing. Diego learned this from a mutual acquaintance at a Wynwood bar, who added, "She's spiraling, man." Her parents made her move back to their place in Hialeah. The restraining order also mandated therapy, a condition Sophia resented but couldn't dodge. Diego felt no joy in her downfall, just a quiet satisfaction that the truth was out. Meanwhile, Diego's life began to rebuild. His marketing firm, impressed by his handling of the chaos, promoted him to senior coordinator after he landed a major client campaign. The extra responsibility kept him focused, a welcome distraction from Sophia's lingering shadow. He moved to a new apartment in Betrayal, one with a view of Biscayne Bay, signing the lease with a sense of starting fresh. Friends rallied around him, Mateo organizing a game night to celebrate Diego's freedom. For the first time in months, Diego laughed without looking over his shoulder. But Sophia wasn't done testing boundaries. A week after the hearing, Diego got a letter at his office, not from Sophia, but from her friend Raquel, pleading for him to reconsider for Sophia's sake. Diego forwarded it to his lawyer, a clear violation of the restraining order's no-contact rule through third parties. Then came calls from block numbers, hanging up when he answered. Diego reported each incident, building a case in case Sophia pushed further. Her desperation was clear, but so was his determination to stay free. Sophia's lies collapsed in a Miami courtroom, leaving Diego free but wary of her next move. With a restraining order in place and her world unraveling, the truth had finally caught up. As Diego rebuilt his life, a chance encounter revealed the cost of Sophia's games, cementing a hard-won lesson. Standing up to manipulation isn't just survival. It's the path to a life reclaimed. Diego Alvarez, 28, stood taller after the Miami-Dade County Courthouse granted him a 200-meter restraining order against Sophia Morales, his ex-girlfriend of 3 years. Her campaign of harassment, breakup texts, a doorstep tantrum caught on his doorbell camera, fake hospital calls, and a public protest outside his Lincoln Road office have been exposed by damning evidence, including screenshots from her friend Valeria revealing Sophia's manipulative tests. Now, 9 months later, Diego was carving out a new life, but Sophia's shadow lingered, testing his resolve. The fallout from the hearing hit Sophia hard. The public restraining order shattered her victim narrative as friends accessed court documents detailing her actions. Valeria, once her closest ally, cut ties completely, fed up with Sophia's lies. Mutual friends, like Mateo, rallied around Diego, sharing the truth in group chats that left Sophia's stories in tatters. Her job as a social media manager vanished after she missed work, too consumed by the drama. Forced to move back to her parents' home in Hialeah, Sophia faced court-mandated therapy, a condition she grudgingly accepted. Diego, meanwhile, thrived, landing a promotion to senior marketing coordinator after securing a major client deal. But Sophia didn't fade quietly. 2 weeks after the hearing, Diego received a letter at his office from Raquel, another of Sophia's friends, urging him to give her a chance to explain. Diego recognized it as a violation of the restraining order's no-contact rule through third parties and forwarded it to his lawyer, Elena. Then came calls from block numbers, silent when he answered. Diego reported each incident, his evidence folder growing. The boldest move came when HR informed him Sophia had applied for a job in his firm's marketing department, likely hoping to force contact. The application was rejected citing her lack of qualifications and the active restraining order. When Sofia threatened to sue for discrimination, Diego's company sent a cease and desist letter, shutting her down. Each attempt only deepened her hole. Diego's life, in contrast, was blossoming. His new Betrayal apartment overlooked Biscayne Bay, a symbol of his fresh start. He replaced Sofia's clutter with his own touches, a sleek sound system, a comfortable couch, making the space his own. Work kept him busy, his promotion bringing new challenges that sharpened his focus. Mateo and other friends became his anchor, hosting barbecues and game nights that reminded Diego what real support felt like. He even started running along the bay, the rhythm of his steps matching the city's pulse, grounding him in his newfound freedom. The final twist came unexpectedly on a Saturday morning at a Whole Foods in Coral Gables. Diego was grabbing produce when a familiar voice called his name. It was Sofia's mother, Carmen, standing by the avocados, her expression a mix of regret and relief. "Diego, can we talk?" she asked. They stepped to a quiet aisle, and Carmen's words spilled out. "I owe you an apology. I should have stopped Sofia sooner. I didn't see how far she'd gone." She revealed Sofia's latest chapter, a new boyfriend, met on a dating app, who thrived on her drama. "They break up and get back together every week," Carmen said, exhausted. "He calls it passion. I call it a mess." Carmen shared more. Sofia's therapy was ongoing, but she resisted, blaming everyone but herself. Her parents, fed up, charged her rent to stay in Hialeah, hoping to push her to take responsibility. "You were good to her, Diego," Carmen said. "Better than she deserved." Diego nodded, feeling no anger, only clarity. The encounter wasn't closure. It was confirmation that he'd dodged a lifelong trap. Walking to his car, Diego reflected on the past year. Sofia's breakup text, meant to control him, had backfired, forcing him to stand up in a way he never had before. Her lies had cost her friends, her job, and her credibility, while Diego had gained a promotion, a new home, and a circle of loyal friends. The restraining order held, and Sofia's attempts to skirt it, through Raquel, silent calls, or her job application, only tightened the legal noose. Diego's evidence, meticulously gathered, ensured she'd face consequences if she pushed further. The moral hit him as he drove through Miami's vibrant streets. Manipulation thrives in silence, but truth cuts through it like a blade. By refusing to play Sofia's game, Diego had reclaimed his life, proving that standing firm isn't just about surviving. It's about thriving. He parked at his apartment, the bay sparkling under the sun, and felt a quiet gratitude. Sofia's chaos had been a harsh teacher, but it taught him his worth. As he stepped into his building, Diego knew he wasn't just free, he was unstoppable.